The Center for Community and Citizen Science started in 2016, mostly because the field of citizen science has been exploding. The problem is that people are making a lot of claims about the benefits for communities, the benefits for people participating, the benefits for science, but there's very little research on that. What we do is conduct research on best practices for developing and doing citizen science projects.
We did 13 case studies where we spent time with young people and educators in the field and interviewed young people before and after their participation, as well as educators and citizen science program leaders, to really understand what kind of learning is going on here in a very deep and systematic way.
As we investigate learning in community and citizen science, we've been really fortunate to be able to work with and gain insight from educators as well as natural scientists working with youth in different ways across a range of contexts.
Out of those case studies, we saw these three practices kind of as common across a number of youth. The three key practices of youth, community, and citizen science are sharing findings with outside audiences, youth taking ownership of data quality, and interacting with complex social ecological systems.
We saw young people sharing with all different kinds of audiences, and this really gave them the opportunity to step into leadership roles.
So we often have kids write about their experiences through blogs, and so we have a blog at the museum. And so we have school kids, their whole classes sometimes write the blog together.
And by the end of the summer, they serve as experts for hopefully a new cohort of students or students who they're handing off the project to.
Again, it really validates that this was meaningful work.
And this was really important, again, for young people to see themselves as becoming experts in these data collection methods.
Kids can do really rigorous work. One of the tools that we've used in the Vital Signs program is actually incorporating a peer quality check and a peer quality review.
When you put a young person in charge of their peers and you explain to them the importance of what they're doing and the importance of integrity of the process and protocol and data, you see that they can get really invested and they kind of self-monitor themselves as well as their peers.
This was a practice that was important for young people to move beyond solely learning about science or the natural world itself, but to really think about how humans interact in these complex systems.
Seeing them notice the stuff that's going on in their local community and how it might affect the science that we were talking about, I thought that that was something that they might have not otherwise had access to.
The human participation in an ecosystem is sometimes the hook that gets a kid who doesn't think that they're interested in the environment interested.
The key teacher practices are practices that educators, both in and out of school, can use to maximize the opportunities for youth learning in citizen and community science activities. There are three of them. The first one is positioning students as people who do science, framing the work globally and locally, attending to the unexpected. They're not just people who are collecting data to give to scientists, but they are involved in the meaning making, in the reasoning practices themselves, and can really take on roles.
I think they get a greater sense of ownership and also take greater responsibility in what they're doing.
When you look at some of the high school programs especially, that's where you really get that impact of, oh, I could do that job. I could do that because I've already had this experience.
This is a practice that's important because community and citizen science is about global contribution to real scientific work, and also at the same time about local place-based learning that we're doing right here in our community.
Especially in California, so much of what we do affects migratory patterns, affects water quality. There are so many pieces that are interconnected. And I think one of the fantastic things about citizen science is that there is no right answer.
the whole point of it is you don't know what you're going to find.
Advice for teachers or other groups doing this kind of work is to let go, maybe make that space for failure, make that space for the things that they can't control or don't know.
It can be uncomfortable, but if they really embrace, we're figuring this out together. Me with the students, we're all in this together and we don't know what we're going to find out. We see really rich learning opportunities for young people.